Last summer, Peppa Pig entered the deep, dark wood, located the Gruffalo and persuaded him to come and live with her. Since then, they'd put up a picture, played a football match together, and the Gruffalo had become a vegetarian. But very little else had happened. Peppa reminded herself that Rome wasn't built in a day.
Don't you know that Rome wasn't built in a day? Hey, hey, hey.
And that world domination takes time. It might be a case of... But even so, Peppa reflected that it was hard work trying to become a world leader, and these things don't just happen overnight. Peppa and the Gruffalo watched as the Lovely Place channel continued to make random films for YouTube on all sorts of incongruent, mismatched, banal subjects, and marvelled that even without a niche audience, or an established fan base, or even a rudimentary knowledge of storytelling, editing, or trick photography, the Lovely Place channel was slowly but surely gathering subscribers one at a time. Then all of a sudden, one day, the Lovely Place channel read a story about Fireman Sam, and things began to change. Peppa got on the phone to the Gruffalo, who'd left his cave in the deep dark wood, enrolled his child in the local primary school, and was currently making a living as an exam invigilator, and invited him round to hers for a cup of tea and a little chat. The Gruffalo wasted no time. He grabbed a litre of cherry ice cream made by Owl from his freezer and pounded his way over to Peppa's house, his turned-out toes leaving deep gouges in the fields and his purple prickles bristling with excitement. Peppa opened her door as soon as she saw him running up her hill. And led him straight to her office. Spread over her desk were the 6 Fireman Sam books Lovely Place had just read for the Lovely Place channel. "Gruff," she said, "I think I've just found the perfect person to join our crack team."
Our crackpot team?
Said the Gruffalo.
I'm not entirely sure why you took me out of the deep dark wood, but I'm sure it will all become clear.
Peppa pushed the books towards the Gruffalo. "Take a read," she said, "while I put the kettle on." The Gruffalo made himself comfortable and began to read. It didn't take long. When he'd finished, he looked up at Peppa and said,
I don't get it.
Peppa smiled, leaned back in her chair, rested her little back trotters on her desk and her little front trotters behind her head. "You've just read six Fireman Sam books, right?"
Correct.
Said the Gruffalo. "And of those 6, that's right, 6 books, how many times does Fireman Sam appear?" The Gruffalo had a quick count up.
Twice?
He hazarded. "Correct," said Peppa. "And even then, he only appears halfway through or right at the end, yes?"
Your point being?
Said the Gruffalo. "The point being," said Peppa very slowly, "is that Fireman Sam has gathered over 10 more subscribers for the Lovely Place channel on his name alone. He doesn't even have to appear in his stories to have subscribers tune in to find out what he's up to." "How many of my books do I not appear in?" she asked the Gruffalo.
I don't know.
Said the Gruffalo.
The Lovely Place has read a lot of your books, and I think you feature in every one.
"I think I do too," said Peppa. "I'm a very busy little pig. And you've only featured in 2 books, but even so, your books have achieved by far the greatest number of viewings. Whereas this," she waved her trotters over the books, "this guy, this hero," and she did that thing with the 2-finger quotes, "clearly has time on his hands, time that we could use, time to help us."
Help us with what?
Said the Gruffalo. I'm waiting for a sign, said Peppa mysteriously, but in the meantime I want you to go to Pontypaddy, wherever that is, and persuade Fireman Sam to join us.
And how exactly am I going to do that?
Asks the Gruffalo.
Simple,
Said Peppa. You are, after all, the personification of fear, are you not?
Well, I suppose so, said the Gruffalo.
So, use the fear.
use the force, Luke.
Use your force.
How can I scare a fireman? He fights fire. He's the very definition of a hero. He's scared of no one and nothing.
Oh, laughed Peppa. Everyone is afraid of something. I suggest you go in disguise.
Disguised as what?
Asks the Gruffalo. Why, as a hermiferous inspector, of course.
A what?
A hermiferous inspector, said Peppa again.
Hermiferous?
Correct.
And what's that? I've never heard of it.
Well, maybe it's pronounced HMICFRS, said Peppa. Schools have Ofsted, the NHS has the CQC, and firemen are scrutinised by Hermiferous, His Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services.
Never heard of them,
Said the Gruffalo. Well, that's fine, said Peppa. You might not have heard of them, but my guess is that Fireman Sam knows exactly who they are, and they are the stuff of his own personal nightmares. So go and find yourself an ill-fitting black suit and tie, get yourself a clipboard and a small laptop-type device, and go and persuade Fireman Sam to come and join us. Capiche? And that, my friends, is why Peppa Pig and the Gruffalo asked Fireman Sam to join their gang. As to how the Gruffalo managed to persuade him to join up is a story for another time. Thanks very much for watching to the end. Please like and subscribe to the Lovely Place channel for stories and more, with no niches, no formulas, and very little technical ability anywhere. Bye for now!